是什么东西啊？天上哎，看看那是什么东西啊？在里面，在里面。哎，这是什么东西啊？是不是飞碟啊？
Is there really life on other planets? Some former military and government personnel say they have proof there is. Elaine Quijano explains.
We've seen the photographs and heard the stories of what some say is evidence of UFOs. Now a group of scientists, former Air Force and FAA officials is lending its voice to the argument that we are not alone. Dr. Stephen Greer heads up the Disclosure Project, a group that compiles information from people who say they've encountered extraterrestrial forms of life.
We can establish through this testimony that these objects of extraterrestrial origin have been tracked on radar going thousands of miles per hour, stopping and making right-hand turns.
Since 1993, Dr. Greer says he has videotaped testimony from more than 100 people about what they say are close encounters. People like retired Navy Commander pilot Graham Bethune, who believes he saw a UFO 50 years ago while flying to Newfoundland.
Then it appeared over to the right and moved out slowly and flew with us. It was still not at our altitude, but we could see the shape of it. It had a dome.
In addition, the Disclosure Project says it has documents supporting its case, including FAA records and CIA memos. What do members plan to do with their information? They hope Congress and President Bush take notice. They want to see congressional hearings into the matter, despite criticism from skeptics.
Those that don't want to believe you will never believe you anyway, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the truth.
A spokesperson for the Senate Science, Technology and Space Committee says no congressional hearings are planned right now. Elaine Quijano, CNN Headline News, Washington.
Describe what they look like.
I could, but it would probably take a whole lot of time. The reason I state that, when I got out in 1989, we had cataloged 57 different species. You have individuals that look very much like you and myself that could walk among us and you wouldn't even notice the difference, except for some of the things that they might be able to go ahead, even in a dark room, and touch an object and go ahead and identify what color that object might be. They would have a heightened sense of smell, sight, hearing. The situation is that you have various types of what we normally call grays. We didn't call them grays in the military, but you had at least 3 types of the grays. You had some that were much taller than we were. The unique thing that I'd like to point out for the most part is that the entities that we did catalog were in fact humanoid. Now this created a situation where the scientific community was trying to figure out why that would be the case, because you would expect that if life evolved on other planets, that they would take on some type of other being, so to speak, not necessarily look humanoid or be bipedal such as we are. But apparently we got quite a few of the species out there that are humanoid in appearance, and that creates a question that yet has to be answered by science.
Having been accused of planning the 9/11 terror attacks as an inside job, and having been exposed as a long-time member of the Skull and Bones secret society with macabre rituals, George W. Bush's popularity fell to an all-time low prior to the 2004 presidential election. Bush staged a grand photo opportunity at NASA, using the American space program as a grand charade, making a speech from NASA headquarters about the future exploration of space. But the speech by George W. Bush is not about the exploration of space. It is more about the exploitation of space. The US government has weaponized space. In December 2006, Nexus magazine republished news reports which claimed that communist Chinese satellites had fired laser beams at satellites owned by the American government. Star Wars are happening right now. There are thousands of satellites in orbit. Many contain small nuclear reactors. When one of these nuclear-powered satellites falls back to Earth, it is like a silent H-bomb, depositing radioactive dust into the atmosphere. Just 1 pound of plutonium dust deposited into the Earth's atmosphere would kill all living creatures and plant life on the face of the planet. The US government presently has nearly 50 pounds of plutonium orbiting planet Earth in a range of military satellites. Shortly before his death, retired Pentagon officer Colonel Philip Corso wrote a book called The Day After Roswell. In this astounding book, he claimed that the Star Wars weapon system was placed in orbit to repel alien invaders. The US military has better, more accurate, and more powerful weapons for killing UFOs than were deployed in the movie Independence Day. Before he became president, Jimmy Carter made an official UFO report saying that he had personally witnessed a UFO the size of the moon.